originally from Northern California, and we moved here about 9 years ago. I came out of a divorce situation, had to leave with my children. I have 7 children. We left without a penny. We didn't know anybody in this area. It was a very difficult and complicated situation, and I really had no idea where to start and where to go. When I came to the Refuge Center, I didn't trust many people. So we were, in every sense of the form, alone. So when I came in to my therapist, it was the very beginning of the very first relationship of trusting somebody. She was kind and gentle. My therapist was very useful in giving us resources, places to go, people to talk to. Leaving without any finances was a new experience for me. I had nothing to support myself, much less 7 children. Their sliding scale is the only way that I was able to do it. They worked with me and my finances, just kept helping me get on my feet. So we experienced a lot of healing just based on the fact of realizing that we weren't alone. God had us. And so we felt very carried through it.
I started drinking when I was 12. The other drug for me was sports. That was, I went to college to play baseball. I found the thing that would take away whatever it is I was feeling. I really didn't know any other way to deal with life's challenges or problems or heartaches or setbacks. I was a total lack of control. Once I got to probably 10 years ago is the first time I really sat down and said, I probably need to stop. Something is off here. I don't drink like a normal person. It has not been easy by any stretch. I think I started to utilize more counseling. I was able to stay sober for almost 3 years. I have always lived recklessly, thinking I'm gonna survive anything that happens, not thinking about life or death, just kind of like I'm just gonna live, and I'm gonna live to the fullest of whatever it is I'm choosing to do. I'm extremely extroverted. I enjoy people. I love being around people. My disease took me then to isolation. I was completely powerless over any of my actions at that point.
In the last year, we moved to a new property that we did step out in faith and trusted that God was delivering us from some very difficult things. And within just a week or so of moving to the new location, my 15-year-old son went out to mow the lawn for the first time here. And he went outside and he sat on a 0-turn mower, and it hit just the perfect angle, and it tipped over and it crushed him immediately. And I found him immediately and tried to save him, but was unable to. Today, I feel like I live with a black hole with the loss of my son. I live with the heaviness of providing for the rest of my children. I miss my son Jacob deeply. It's not a pain that you cannot put into words or really express to anybody else. It's a place of constant vulnerability when you're in aisle 4 and you break down. But I've learned to process my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts as I go.
Kind of the underlying intertwining theme of this whole story was that I was sexually abused as a child. From what I know and what I remember and the details that I remember, over a period of about 2.5 years, maybe 3 years. So from like 6 to 8 years old, I was a little boy. I never even thought that this was an option to talk about this. I didn't think people talked about it. And part of the story for me too, and what has been really hard for me, is that a person told me multiple times that they would kill me if I ever said anything. After leaving Cumberland Heights, they said, we're going to set you something up at the Refuge Center. And I didn't know anything. At this point, I was just like, I'll do anything I need some kind of relief, and it doesn't need to be a substance. I need talk therapy. So one of the other things that brought me to the Refuge Center was the sliding scale. I had just gotten asked to leave a job 3 days before Christmas while I was in treatment. So had zero income and terrified. I did not know what to do. We had savings that would last a few months. But then what do we do after that? I live in Williamson County. It is a wonderful place to live. But I don't think we talk enough about what happens when people lose their jobs or people go through life events where they need help and they need a place to go that's willing and has the funds necessary to be able to help them. I'm a great example of how that's needed. The Refuge Center really stood up for me when we went through everything that we went through, a job loss, a substance abuse treatment, our lives being turned upside down, and then not having to worry about $225, whatever the going rate in Williamson County or Nashville is for an hour of therapy. To bring that back down where we could afford it, it meant everything to us. The great thing about coming to the Refuge Center and working with my therapist is that I'm able to be messy and I feel safe doing it. For me to feel safe, for me to feel like I can go and I can talk about anything, especially for me as a male, as a sports-dominated culture, playing sports growing up, extremely tough, kind of a jerk growing up, like just on the sports field, just mean. For me, that's the ultimate compliment, is that when I feel safe and I feel that it's a safe space, I'm able to get a lot of really good work done. I'm able to have this gift of being able to come home and spend time with my family because of all the tools that I've learned at the Refuge Center and all the tools that my therapist has given me.
Working with the EMDR, my experience was, it's just something it's amazing. It's amazing. People are like, is it hypnotism? Nope, it's not hypnotism. It just kind of stops everything and puts you in a place where you can start processing the things that are in the background so that you can deal with life in the foreground. There was a EMDR session when my therapist was walking me through, and I was reliving what had happened. And I physically felt Jacob wrap his arms around me, and he said to me, "Mom, it's all good. I didn't feel a thing." And he said, "You're gonna be okay. I'm all good. It's okay." And I play that in my head all the time. I would say that the Refuge Center is a place definitely where hope grows. It's a beautiful place for healing, a beautiful place for those that have lost loved ones, whether it be through death or whether it be through divorce. I can definitely say divorce was a death of a marriage, of hopes and dreams, and it's a place of healing. Hope grows at the Refuge Center. It's a safe place to heal, process, just to be.
Not only do I get to work on me, but this also is impacting both my kids, and it obviously impacts a huge impact on my marriage. I have 2 little boys that don't care that their dad is a recovering drug addict or their dad is dealing with a lot of trauma issues. They don't care about any of that stuff. They just care that I'm walking back through the door. Because there was a time that I was not walking through the front door.